Welcome back, MTG Joe here. We're going to be doing another installment of the weekly meta breakdown where we take a look at the best performing decks in a particular format on the MTG Arena ladder. This particular video is for standard best of 3. If you're looking for best of 1, other formats, you can check it out on the respective playlist. And we are getting all the data from Untapped.gg, which you see on screen. It's a companion tool that runs alongside your Arena client, tracks your win rates, loss rates, collections, gives you deck ideas. Whole bunch of cool functionality, free to use a whole bunch of it. Link is in the video description down below. I'll also paste all these deck lists in the video description so you can easily copy and paste them in there and play whatever your heart desires. If you enjoy this type of content, greatly appreciate it. If you can, drop a like, comment. If you haven't done so, consider subscribing to the channel. All are free and easy ways to help out. In any case, let's jump into it. This is July 3rd to the 10th. Platinum to Mythic, 16,000 matches, so 2 to 3 times that, 32 to 48,000 games of Standard being played for the week. And while it's not the top deck this week in Standard Best of 1, Boros Aggro has found its way into Best of 3. 61% win rate, just in a very aggressively slanted, hasty, get things bigger creature deck. Posed this question in the Best of 1 video, but we see it as Boros Aggro here, Boros Burn in the other format. Could be Boros Modify. What do you call this deck? What is your name for this deck? Let me know in the comments. But what you're trying to do with this deck is just put counters on things. Like Hopeful Initiate trains, Luminarch puts counters, Bloodthirsty can flashback spells and get counters. Kumano puts counters and makes things just exile and deals points of damage. 8 burn spells to go face or to your creatures of your opponent. Brutal Cathar to exile things. Sunrise Cavalier gets bigger day or night. Also has trample, so you know if they're trying to block with little wedding announcement tokens, you laugh at them and just kind of smash in. You got Thundering Raiju at the top end that deals damage based on your modified creature count and then puts more counters on things. Your sideboard, so usually what I do with the sideboard is just kind of indicate what matchups you want these for. So Kami's Flare, 3 damage plus 2 damage to an opponent. If you have a modified creature, this is for your creature matchup mirrors. Thalia for control style or combo decks, things you want to tax them, heavy on non-creature spells. Think like the Hinata deck. Spellbinder, combo or control decks, you want to get rid of those sweepers. Angelfire Ignition comes in the creature matchups to help swing the life race. Valorous Stance comes like Hinata decks, Goldspan Dragon decks. Anything with 4 toughness, the mirror, or for things that have heavy removal, you might want to consider bringing that in as well. But I probably wouldn't bring it in like heavy removal decks. I'd bring just in the package of like Thalia and Spellbinder. Then we have Orzov Control, Orzhov Midrange. So kind of a Meathook Massacre, mix of removal spells, Infernal Grasp, Vanishing Verse. You have Discard with like Acquisition Expert, Dread Fuge, Pelakka Predation. It's a Wedding Announcement, like Wandering Emperor deck. You have Extraction Specialist to get back your copies of like Expert or Luminarch. Announcement basically gives you card advantage tokens or an Anthem effect all in one. And then Henrika is kind of your Kalitas of the format. Flying Death Touch Lifelink when you flip it gets you some card advantage, or you sack a token, make them sack their good things. And a copy of Legion Angel for your sideboard. Your sideboard, like your Legion Angels, the rest, Goldspan style Dragon decks, big creature decks, Hullbreaker Horror decks, aggro weenie decks, controller combo, runes, Hinata, anything that's looking to play multiple spells or things with a lot of non-basics, and then just some removal spells when the matchups predicate it. Then we move to mono green Stompy Stumps. So this was the best deck in best of 1 this week actually. But you basically are looking with this deck, you have your fight spells, your protection spells, and then like Sculptor lets you go turn 3 Eska's Chariot or Uvenwald, and potentially turn 4 Invoke the Ancients. Notably when you copy with Invoke with Chariot, they don't get the counter, you just get a copy, so you just get a 4/5, you don't get like a 4/5 reach or trample, whatever it may be. You have Uvenwald Oddity that you pump mana into, flip this team, give everything trample, but just like aggressively slanted creatures with a lot of mana sinks into the deck, so you do have some contingency if you do flood with the deck. Sideboard, heavy removal style decks with targeted removal. You have Snakeskin Veil. You have more fight spells and Devouring Tendrils, Master's Rebuke. For the grindier matchups, you have Bankbuster, Artifact and Enchantments, you have Masked Vandal. as well as Outland Liberator. And then you have a Boros just as a catch-all. If you ever run into like heavy artifact enchantment decks, where this is just more often than not a spell as opposed to a land, stuff like that. And then Froghemoth for anything for graveyard hate, or just when like a hasty body that is relevant in those particular matchups. Then we jump into Esper Midrange. So this is basically white-black splash some Obscura, and Obscura being like the color combination of Esper. Raffine kind of powers the deck, lets you loot through a bunch of stuff. You can get advantage of having this in the graveyard anyways. Like Kaido also lets you loot, gives you some card advantage. Another Meat Hook, Wedding Announcement, Loth Umper deck. A little bit more Planeswalkers here with Kaido and Elspeth. Legion Angel package, similar removal, some make disappears as counters. So very similar to the Orzhov deck, probably a little bit worse into creature decks, but better into like the Hinata style decks where you have counter spells main. Heavy like spell decks, you got Ledger Shredder for like weenie style decks, good blocker attacker, another Meat Hook, Graveyard Hate, removal when needed, discard for the control matchups, sweepers if needed as well. So you kind of have that all mixed into the deck. Some Graveyard Hate, all kind of pumped into there. Then we jump to Temur Control. So we kind of have two decks here. They're like Jeskai and Temur. In reality, they're Izzet splash a third color. So this one's like an Izzet Treasures style deck that's basically trying to ramp into Titan of Industry on the top end. In the sideboard, you have like Coma as another uncounterable threat. But you're using like a bunch of things that generate artifacts like Prismari Command, the tokens from Fable the Mirror Breaker, Goldspan Dragons, and then you're kind of like an Izzet control deck with a surprise. You gotta love the Izzet deck that's playing a triple green spell, but you can thanks to the pathways, the dual lands, and all the treasure tokens. Sideboard, you have like burn damage for creatures, grindy matchups. You have like Bankbuster, you have some negates in there, Hearse for Graveyard Hate, and another Sweeper kind of mixed into that. Sorry, give me one sec. Someone just came. And then lastly, we have Jeskai Hinata. So this deck is using Hinata to lower the cost of targeted spells. So a counter spell costs 1 less because you're targeting something. Magma Opus can cost up to 6 less because there's multiple targets. So you can do stuff like that, but very similar idea. Kill things, ramp with like treasures, play Hinata, control the board, kind of that way there. And then similarly, you have your counter spells for kind of these like Izzet mirrors. You have burn damage with Dragon's Fire, Flame Blast Bolt, Seismic Wave, stuff like that. And then typically you'll see like Bankbusters for grindier matchups kind of mixed into there. And as always, I just let folks know what I'm playing this week. I've actually been playing Baldur's Gate Alchemy. I know folks aren't too keen on Alchemy all the time, but I've been enjoying it. I've been playing Clerics, some variations of like Clerics with Black Market connections and Thalia. I've been playing a couple versions. Got to number 16 Mythic at the beginning of the season with Angels, and kind of Ignis combo, stuff like that. But you can see what I've been playing, and we'll wrap it up for the week. Let me know what you've been playing in Best of 3, and as always, actually I'm curious, are you interested in Alchemy with the new set? Have you played it at all? What are your thoughts on that? I've been enjoying it, might do content, but want to see what folks think. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one, and stay safe out there.